Hello everyone, my name's Putty and welcome back for another edition of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. We are here for the one night of the year that we go old school. No, that's actually not true. We're old school most of the year, but this is usually where we have a feud ender if one has been going on long enough. But this being our first year, obviously, we just have a number one contenders match, which I think is appropriate. I do indeed think that is an appropriate main event of this evening. One of the best main events we've actually had this series, in my opinion. A nice triple threat between our contenders to determine who will be the number one contender. Sad thing, Sam Keith's not here tonight, which means we're using old Sid Collier as our road agent. He's probably up to the task, but not as good as Sam Keith, so our match is going to suffer tonight because of that. So, yep, let's get into the show. We open up with the Architect defeating Keith Vegas and continuing his momentum. Usual stuff, Architect works him down. Keith ends up getting a babyface comeback of some sort, maybe a lariat or two, and then just runs straight into some sort of shenanigans. Maybe Architect moves out of the way and he goes face first into the exposed turnbuckle. Roll up, pull tights, the like. You know how these dastardly heels work, and the Architect is one of the most dastardly of all. Cheetah Boy is backstage in a suit of some sort, maybe like a golden suit, and he says, tonight is my chance to finally prove that I've still got it. I've been an independent wrestler for the majority of my life. I'm not an old guy, but I've wrestled a very long time, and tonight I have a big opportunity. I've been here in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling for about a year now, and I've seen the prestige that comes with the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Championship, and if I can become number one contender for that, it'll be one step closer to fame, fortune, and the position of my dreams. So I'm going to work hard, going to fight hard for money, and I'm going to use whatever it takes. There's no disqualifications, there's no holds barred tonight. I'm going to use weapons, I'm going to throw myself through everything, because if there's one thing I've learned on the independent scene, it's the more risks you take, the more reward you get. And in Bradley Blade's test match, he does quite well, as he defeats Trix Triumph with a Dallas drop. This is probably an indie-rific match. And George Wolf is also in a suit, and he says, I've had a rough couple months. I'm one of the most dominant, one of the most successful, one of the most naturally talented wrestlers to have ever stepped through the Mid-Atlantic Performance Center doors. I'm big, I'm muscly, I'm a wrestling legacy. I deserve to have it all handed to me, but it hasn't been that way. And some punk kids have fucked with me. And I fucked with them back. And tonight is my night. Because tonight I'm finally going to get what's coming to me. And I'm going to become the number one contender for the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Championship. As we move into a very bad indie-rific match. The worst match, I think, on the series so far. As two people who will not be named, because they don't deserve names, decide to have a grapple. And it's not very good. And before the match, Hudask says, I am the Dread Pirate. I am one of the most sought-after names in independent wrestling today. I am a household name in the small nation of Canada. And today, I will ride my ship to glory. I will ride my ship to victory. And I will become the number one contender, and I will take the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Championship back home to Canada, where it belongs. The Mid-Atlantic of the North. And in the main event of this evening, the triple threat, Texas Deathmatch, we have a bit of a slobber knocker, as, the match starts off with about how you'd expect it to. George Wolf tries to get stopped by the two high flyers. The other way around. The two high flyers try to stop George Wolf. They, try to not ground him. They try to pull off their big moves, jump to the top rope. Maybe Cheetah Boy holds down George as Hugh pulls off something flashy, and, the opposite. It's a lot easier to pull off something flashy when you've got a partner holding the other guy down. But George very quickly gets the upper hand, a reversal of some sort, and then he starts to cripple the high flyers. Aims for the leg, nasty kicks, nasty strikes. Very early on, you see Cheetah Boy's left leg is starting to get very nastily hurt, and he can't go to the top rope that much anymore. Can't pull off his death-defying stunts. It's a pretty difficult situation for Cheetah Boy, and then eventually, when George Wolf has complete control of this match, it's basically a 2-on-1 situation, but George Wolf is winning this match. And out comes Miller Ford. And George Wolf, first of all, he gets distracted. He looks at Miller Ford, he looks down at the two men, and he's like, what do I do? He's in that kind of stuck, distracted situation that he was in a couple months ago when he was facing Cheetah Boy. But then he realizes, you know what? I shouldn't be distracted. That fucked me over last time. And instead of sitting there wondering what he should do, he gets out of the ring and goes to Miller Ford. Goes to beat him up. But Miller Ford immediately runs away. He doesn't stop. He doesn't wait. He just runs away. And George, because he's not really thinking, he's full of anger and vitriol right now, chases Miller Ford to the back. They're just running to the back. And the cameras follow them. They're basically heading all around the arena. George is far away from the ring, and in the end, George has not only been distracted by Miller Ford, but he's been completely taken out of the match by him, and it leaves just Hugh Dask and Cheetah Boy to have a match. But of course, Cheetah Boy's already hurt. George Wolf just took out Cheetah Boy's left leg, and Hugh Dask, he's not afraid to target that leg. Gets a chair, gets a kendo stick, beats the shit out of Cheetah Boy's left leg. Cheetah Boy can't fly, and that's all Cheetah Boy can do is fly. So he's screwed, and Hugh Dask picks up the victory with a cutthroat driver. And Hugh Dask will face Mid-Atlantic champion Greg Gage next month at the Fan Festival in the last show before the Sam Keith Classic, where I'm sure Tag Team Wrestling will take over Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. He has a big shot that night, at winning the Mid-Atlantic Championship from the ace, from Greg Gage, the man who, he's not so sure of himself, he's not quite full of himself like some of those aces are, but the fans believe in him. And he is the grapple lord extraordinaire of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. And if if Hugh Dask is going to beat him, then he has to employ that same technical prowess that he used to beat Cheetah Boy tonight. And maybe he'll have to bring just as many weapons. And he's not afraid to do so. That Dread Pirate of the Seven Seas. On the Seven Seas you don't have these wrestling rules. He's a little bit confused by our American wrestling. He's used to the Canadian on the seas wrestling. Or something, I fucking don't. But just before the end of the match, he's not on time to save it, but he is on time to see Hugh Dask beating Cheetah Boy. George Wolf strolls back down to the ring, runs back down to the ring. Again, he's not in time to save it, but after the match, Hugh Dask gets out of dodge, and Cheetah Boy does a stretcher job, and George is still left in the middle of the ring, and he picks up the mic, and he says that the Miller Ford, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this chicken and mouse game, Chicken and mouse game? The fuck? Cat and mouse game. I'm sick of this cat and mouse game between us. There's clearly some animosity. There's clearly some mind games going on, but quite frankly, I'm fucking sick of it. So I want to end it. Next month is Fan Festival, one of the biggest shows of the year, and I think it's time to end our differences. We had a match last month. Clearly that hasn't satisfied you. So next month, I think we should have a match without rules, without silly restrictions such as a wrestling match. We should just have a fight. And then I'm going to rip you limb from limb. And then I'm going to leave you in a pool of your own blood, piss, and vomit. And then you're going to go home. And you're going to think of me every time you close your eyes. And I think you're never going to want to come near me again. So Miller Ford, next month, I'm going to destroy you. And we can book that in. And I think Boss Man will indeed acquiesce to the demands of George Wolf, and he will indeed book a hardcore match. If I can find it. My alphabet should be helping me here. There it is. George Wolf takes on Miller Ford in a hardcore match. In a match that George Wolf said will be violent, vicious, destructive, but should indeed bring an end to the rivalry between the two. As this show comes to an end, thank you all for watching. I appreciate your viewership and your support. If you enjoyed, please feel free to leave a like and check out the rest of the series. And if you really enjoyed and you have the spare finances, go ahead and check out my Patreon, which I think the link should be in the description. But thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.